Coming up next on the Inherited Podcast.
Even the birth of the Bawse Mom Movement, it was just like, okay, I was struggling trying to figure out if it was the right time for me to have a kid, because I feel like that was like where that spark, it was just like, girl, you can do this because you have to, you know what I'm saying? And then you still got to show up for you at the end of the day. How do moms do this? Like, how do you excel? Because at that time I was like, girl, you finna climb the corporate ladder and you know, you have all these plans, and that's what made me second guess, okay, is this the right time for me to pursue motherhood, even though that is also a goal of mine, to have my own family after I had my son almost 3 years ago is when I really stepped into that transition of being confident. And I would say it was something, I don't know exactly what it was, but it was just something in me that just kind of clicked.
Building a legacy, so watch how you step to me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chilling, man. Building a legacy, so watch how you step to me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chilling, man.
Yo, what's good? It's Sir Gates. You're now tuned to the Inherited Podcast. Once again, thank y'all for coming back week after week. Today's going to be a great day. We have another great guest for today's episode, so let's get right into it. So we have Miss Ashlei White here today, founder of the Bawse Mom Movement. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Once again, thank you for pulling up. I appreciate you for coming out here, trying to provide as much value as we can today, so we'll get right into it, right? But what we'll love to do first, right, is ask an icebreaker. I'm going to answer the question. You're going to answer the question, but ladies can go first. It's real smooth question, something dealing with like legacy and inheritance and pretty much just that mindset, things we need in life. So the question is, how do you handle major life transitions and changes when they arise in your life?
Pray about it.
I like that.
Lean on faith for real, because at the end of the day, for me anyway, at the end of the day, God is going to work it out the way he's supposed to. Now I might cry, you know, and get into my emotions, but I am going to pray about it and just see where he takes me. Yeah,
that's one of the best things you can do, to be 100% honest. For myself, yes, that is the base, praying about it. And two, like when changes and stuff just come about, like you never know when they're going to come. Usually always, most of the time, unexpected. Some may be big, some may be small, but it's just learning how to adapt and survive in certain situations, because it's just like, we don't know what's coming tomorrow, the next hour, the next 30 minutes. So it's just whatever may come, because you know, like the future is unknown. Try not to be so flustered when things come your way, or try not to just stress out too much or spaz out. Like, what's going on? Everything in the future is uncertain. So it's just when it does hit you, of course, we got emotions and we can feel how we feel. So go through those emotions and stuff like that. But I just try to take it for what it is. It's face value. Look at it. All right, this is a situation. It's a change. I can feel about how I want to feel about it in my feelings for however long, but sooner or later it's like, hey man, this is what's going on. Let's adapt and let's survive. So that's just how get through those things. But the main thing you say, I love that God is the main key though. Like, God, he gonna
work it out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, you know? Facts, man. So, what I want to do, right, is ask you about like going back in time to your origin story. I feel as if, you know, our past, our trials, our tribulations, all play part into who we have become today as adults, right? And whatever our profession may be, our likes, our dislike, all that stuff has stemmed from in the beginnings and our origins, right? So just take us back to young Ashlei, childhood, family, friends. Just how was that environment for you growing up, and just paint that picture for us to see from then, maybe until you can go to college or whatever, just to see how you got to kind of where you are now. So take us back.
Yeah, so... Well, for starters, I'm an only child.
Okay.
So I had both my parents. They're not married, but I had both of them. So a really strong support system for sure. My parents always came through for me, and then my friends as well. So I've had the same best friends since the 6th grade. So over 20 years, right. And, you know, that's like kind of unheard of, especially for females, just because we can be so catty and fall out about any and everything. But it's been a journey through our friendship, but just now to come and see us as adults with kids, married, and, you know, it's just like, wow, life. Life is really life. But I would say They have also been, my rock through life. So really growing up, and because I was the only child, I didn't have sisters or brothers. So it was like my friends were my siblings.
Makes sense.
And so like their parents are like my second, third, fourth parents, and the same with mine. So really strong support system. I would say for me, I struggled a lot with confidence growing up. And so that's kind of like I don't want to say the story I lean on, but in a sense, like just because I've gone through several transformation stages, like even I feel like cutting my hair. Like I cut my hair for the first time in college, well, right after college. And you know what whatever the saying is, like, when you cut your hair, like it's a new you type of thing. But I felt like that was kind of like the start of me becoming confident and really stepping into who I am. But yeah, like that was me. It was just like, girl, you got to get this confidence together. But you have a strong support system that's always backing you up. But you got to believe in yourself. And I feel like, a lot of people struggle with confidence, and you can hear all the positive from the people around you that's pushing and motivating you. But if you're not motivating yourself, that kind of doesn't really mean anything, because you feel like, well, my people, you supposed to tell me the positive stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't be tearing me down. So it's kind of like an expectation. But until you actually see your own value, it really, to me, it doesn't mean a lot, because you're not going to execute on things that you may want to, which, again, like I kind of feel like that's my story. It's just like I was such a background person, I was in like a lot of organizations, student orgs, even external organizations. Like I was a cheerleader pretty much all my life, from the park to the middle school and high school, always involved, super friendly, out there, outgoing, you would think. But then in the background, like how I felt about me, I didn't 100% feel confident about myself. So I just feel like that was kind of just like my story, my origin. It's like, okay, you a girl that comes from a decent family, good family, strong support system between family and friends, but you lack in this area, which to me, I feel like then you kind of slack on opportunities, that you could have taken up. Like I remember growing up, my mom would always say, like, you're in all these organizations, but you don't hold like no leadership positions in your orgs. You don't ever run for anything. And it was just because that confidence is like, nobody's going to vote for me. Remember in school, you run for stuff and you gotta, it's a almost a popularity thing, right?
That's
and so
pretty
it's
much
just like,
always what it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I would just get nervous. Like, okay, I even if it was something I wanted to pursue, I would talk myself out of doing it, because it's like, well, no one's probably going to vote for you. You're going to lose. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. Nobody, you don't go up for stuff to not be selected, even though that's a possibility. But, I just felt like that was, and people probably wouldn't have guessed it because I was so outgoing and I had a lot of friends and stuff. But I feel like that was just my struggle point. And I actually, I was a part of an anthropology book project last year, and I wrote about that. That was my chapter, just about how I struggled with that, but then overcame it in my adult years. So I pretty much went all my life being not confident. But
that's correct. Like you said, nobody would have known. So I don't know. Was it? I think we went to the same school in 8th grade, maybe. So I know it was Stevenson, but I wouldn't have known. Like, you was a very outgoing person and bubbly person.
Yeah.
But this is crazy to know that, like, so many people, like, we'll say when we leave the house, of course, whether we want to or not, depending on what's going on in our lives, we leave the house with that mask on, that persona of, all right, when I go out into this world, I got to put on my clothes and stuff, but I as well got to put on this persona as if everything's peachy and okay, ain't nothing going wrong at home. My life is good, family good. But like you say, deep down inside, I'm really sitting here battling with self-confidence. And the way you had to put it on, it sucks that sometimes we got to do that because other people judge so much. But then again, as kids, what do most of us know being conscious about not judging somebody for who they are and what's going on, or like you saying, or how can we, what things or resources that we have around ourselves to build that self-confidence. But yeah, it's just saying that I would have never known that growing up meeting you in middle school that it was like that. So what because you was lacking self-confidence, right? Specifically, whether it was during childhood or high school or college, what was that turning point, or what kind of steps you took to say, hey, you know what? I see myself in the mirror and this is when I'm lacking. let me take the steps I need to take to try to build up this confidence. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna talk to this person, this and that. So what was that like for you to shape yourself to be yourself as a self-confident woman? Even as a teenager to adulthood, like all those stages.
Yeah. Honestly, elementary, middle school, even high school, I didn't do it. My turning point was in those college stages because I went to Bethune-Cookman. It's a small HBCU in Daytona Beach, Florida.
HBCUs across the world.
Okay, period. And because like my whole thing going off to college, like everybody was going to kind of like bigger schools, and I wanted to find a school that was close knit, you know, not too many people, because I just felt like that would have been, if I would have went to a large school, I would have been even more in a shell, in a box, you know?
Yeah.
So I went, my dad actually went to Bethune, so I was already familiar with the school. I pledged Delta in school my sophomore year. And I feel like that kind of helped too, because I was still so young, you know, second semester, sophomore. And I got selected in I was probably 20 or so. And so that kind of helped, because it was like, girl, you got picked out of all these girls that are probably amazing and great picks, and you were selected. And then we were just, as a chapter, we were very active on campus. Everybody pretty much knew us. Even before I pledged, I was in our little crew, the Atlanta Girls. That's what they used to call us. And so kind of just even starting then, just knowing a lot of people. So it was kind of like that same thing coming from Stevenson. Okay, you know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm still me, still personable type of person. And now you a Delta on campus, which we already ran the campus. Everybody already
Shout out to all the Reds,
you
too,
know what
man.
I'm saying? And then it was just like getting involved then too, and taking on leadership positions, because I was starting to kind of like feel myself, which I don't think is a bad thing, because if you have confidence, you do feel yourself.
Yeah, that's what it looks like sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and just try not to be like arrogant about it, but you know, just standing firm in who I was. And also going to an HBCU, it just kind of like instills that power in you as a black person, as a black woman. And I was doing good things on campus. So I just felt like every year I was kind of just getting a little bit more confident in myself. And then after college, when I said I cut my hair off, even though I still wasn't feeling it, I was like, I don't know, because a part of the confidence thing was how I felt about my appearance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, you cutting this hair off, people really can see you now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of hiding behind like the long extensions and or big hair, whatever it may be. And I guess I wasn't 100% still 100% confident in my appearance. So I put the wigs back on and stuff after I cut it. And it was about this short like it is now. And then entering into my adult phase, I would say after I had my son, almost 3 years ago, is when I really stepped into that transition of being confident. And I would say it was something, I don't know exactly what it was, but it was just something in me that just kind of clicked.
Yeah, they say having kids spark whatever it is in your mind to make you, whether it's, I want to start a business, but for these past few years, I just been lackadaisy, but boom, I had a kid. Oh, it's go time, because now, well, I guess having a child is very motivational, because it's like, I got to now provide for this young person, and I want to be the best version of myself for this child. I want to be the role model for this child. So in order to do those things, I guess you have to have a form of self-confidence to stand up in front of this kid. Like, you can look up to mom, or if it's a guy, you can look up to pops. Like, I'm that person. So it's beautiful that a child did that. But to pause right there real quick, because this may be important to somebody who's listening. Do you remember where did it stem from, like lacking self-confidence?
Yeah, I do. It was elementary school, and I go back to this story all the time. I even talked to my therapist about it. But I was in a play in elementary school, maybe like second grade-ish, and I had a part. Because back then, you know, I thought I was going to be a star. I thought I was going to be a singer and all this stuff.
Still will be.
You know, look, in another life. But I had a part, and I forgot my lines in front of the whole school, parents, and all of that. And I remember, you know, my mom, she was just like real big on, you got to practice stuff. I mean, which any parent, right? You got to practice or you're going to mess up. And I don't know. I mean, at that age, I guess I thought I practiced enough. and still got on stage and completely went blank. And for a kid, that's traumatic, you know?
Yeah.
Like you standing there, everybody looking at you, all eyes on you, and you just, you know what I'm saying?
Blank face.
And I just started crying. And I really feel like from that point, it was kind of just like, okay, never put yourself in the limelight because you might mess up.
Yeah, you don't want to feel that ever again.
Yeah. And so I feel like from there, it just stuck with me. Like, girl, you ain't never got to worry about me stepping up because it's not going to happen, you know? And I feel like even from that point, just having public speaking issues, like stage fright. That's really what it came down to, stage fright. And then as far as the appearance goes, I've always been a slim girl, you know, and you know how it is, girls and guys. It's like, oh my gosh, you the ugly friend. Like, honestly, that's how I felt growing up. Like, you the ugly friend. Nobody ever want to talk to you type of thing. And it could have just been, you know, me in my head too. This is not to say like I never had a guy like me and stuff, you know. But it's just kind of like when we compare ourselves to people.
Facts.
You know, we can sit here and say don't do it, but I feel like it's just in our nature to do, especially now with social media being so popular. It's like from the way you look, how you dress, the car you drive, you know, all that type of stuff. But even back then as kids are cruel, first of all. So, you know, we gonna say anything like, I was tall, I was skinny, big feet, you know, all type of stuff. And so just hearing that, you start to believe that, you know what I'm saying? If this is how people see you, then this must be true. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to what I said about when you have like a strong foundation and a strong support system, of course, they're not going to tell you that stuff. They're going to say, oh, you're so beautiful. And, you know, and it's just like, yeah, you're saying that because you're my mom and dad. You're supposed to say that. But when I go out here in the world and I'm hearing other things, then that's what I'm going with. It's like the majority, you know,
majority
type of thing.
rules,
And so just growing up, that's just how it was. And that's how I would view myself, is just like not as pretty as the next girl. And then with the whole stage fright thing, it was just like, okay, if you just stay in your shell, stay in your bubble, you going to be good, you know?
That was a lot of trauma at a young age. That's told stage fright situation. I bet that stuck for a while. Just imagine, like you said, and most of these plays as kids, he used to dim the lights, had a spotlight on, this and that. So it's like you definitely feeling like, God, man, you know, looking at me, I don't know my lines, and it's just crazy to know, like, as in growing up, certain things like that stick with us for a long time, and then over time, it kind of like maybe you may forget about it or it disappears, but subconsciously and deep down inside, you're still really dealing with it, and that's when you come to find out, why am I feeling like this and that and da-da-da-da, and that's when I say, go to counseling. That's when that comes in, because then you can really dig down to the roots of all these situations and issues and what may happen in your past. Because, like I say, stuff lasts, but when we forget about it, we still subconsciously deal with our traumas of our past for years and years and years and try to figure out why am I like this, but when I don't want to be like this, or why do I feel this way when I know I look like X, Y, and Z and I can do X, Y, and Z, but there's still a quick little flash or something in my mind and be like, no, you can't. Or, nah, you're not worthy of that. But it's like, it boils back down to that, those childhood trauma. So at what age did you start going to counseling? Was it like late adulthood, or was it, you said?
Yeah.
It's all good. Huh?
in the last couple of years, and that's when I was able to, and most recently, really last year, is when I brought up the situation with the stage fright, and I knew that I had always held on to that, but like you said, in the back of my mind, it's just like if I would ever sit and think about it, it's like it goes back to that very moment in which it's like, you're a kid. Yeah. Of course you would have been crying about that. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, it's those simple things that you don't really address because it's put off as that was so small, but it was so big to me that it carried, you know, that I carried that all those years. Yeah. And that was the reason why I would like shy away from any type of, get in front of any crowd. Even though I did start, because when I was my first job out of college, I was an admissions counselor at a university.
People all day.
It's all day, and I had to fight through that because I could be speaking to a room of 200 to 300, you know, or even more sometimes, because we would have, you know, the visitation days. And I would actually force myself, like, just raise your hand, because it would be like, okay, who wants to do the larger one that's on the big stage? And nobody really would want to do it. And I would just, Ashlei, just do it, you know, and still go up there shaking in my boots. But I would still do it just to kind of help push myself through being able to get in front of people again. And say what I need to say and do well at it. And so doing that actually helps me in the long run, because I'm like, girl, you can do it.
It's always in there. Already was in there.
Exactly. So.
And like you said, that helped me out growing up. I never was the type to do public speaking and stuff like that, but just doing just do it and then go first doing it. I even, like, I'm in school now, taking only class I have on campus is Spanish class, but doing that, it's just like every time a question may be asked, usually, you know, back in the day, the classroom would be silent.
Nobody
teacher got to, all
raise
right,
their
I'm going to pick you.
hand.
But now, like college, around college and of course, and now doing college now, it's always, I'm going first. I'll go stand up there and speak. Y'all don't want to do it, I'll do it. But doing that over and over and over has gotten me to the point to where I'm not scared to speak nowhere, until maybe I may get into my first 1,000, 10,000 crowd. I may you know, bounce back a little bit, like, hold on now, let me collect myself.
Give you a little pep talk.
But yeah, in like smaller areas, just like, excuse me, it's nothing, because it's like, hey, how you gonna judge me? At least I'm up here doing it. At least I'm sitting here putting myself on the line, trying to either whatever I'm speaking about help you or help somebody in here, or just to do what it is. But doing those repetitions and just flexing those muscles over and over, that same tactic has also helped me. Now, when you said I had smiles, I'm like, man, that's exactly what I do. It's just like, I do it.
Exactly.
I do it. But so from going, like, turning into your confidence, right? I know you said once you had your son, at that period, what did that transition look like for you when it was like, okay, my kid's here, I'm about to step into this role, I'm a mom now. What was that stepping into that boss mom role look like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a pivotal, I don't even know if I said that right, but y'all know, okay. Moment for me, because like you said, it's like, I'm your role model. I got to do this for you. I got to be great for you, so that you have somebody to go behind and say, okay, I want to be just like my mama and my dad. And this is what they instilled in me. And so that was the point of even the birth of the Bawse Mom Movement. It was just like, okay, I was struggling, trying to figure out if it was the right time for me to have a kid, because I had gotten laid off in COVID, you know, never been laid off from a job or fired from a job before. And I didn't have a backup plan. You know, they say you're supposed to have multiple streams of income. I had nothing. And I felt like a failure in that moment, because it's just like, dang, you about to have to go back to your mama and daddy house. You know, basically start over. And you're not really thinking about, okay, this is happening to everybody pretty much across the world, you know, trying to figure out things. And I was just like, dang, you haven't been on your stuff. You should have been having additional streams of income, so you would have a fallback plan. You don't have a savings. I mean, nothing, right? And so, and even still, I mean, I was still in my 20s when I got pregnant, but I was later 20s, you know, so, you know, society tells you, you know, this is where you should be in life, you know. You graduate and you should be ready to take on the world and be responsible. And the reality is, in our 20s, we still kind of kids. You know what I'm saying?
We still are
like,
kids.
Yeah, it's just like, I just was partying last week. Like, what you mean? And so just instantly, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I was picking back up into the workforce. And it was crazy, because right before COVID, I had transitioned from education to HR. So now I'm in corporate. I was in my job 10 months before I got let go during COVID. And so now I'm back on the job hunt with the rest of the world. Everybody looking for a job. I don't have that much experience. You know, who's going to choose me, basically? And so I was working. I work with a hair team. It's called Honey Hair Co. We had just opened up our shop here in Atlanta, and I'm the manager of that shop. And so that was good. I got a plan, right? And then boom, I get pregnant. Okay, girl, you got to get back. You got to get a job. You need some benefits, some benefits and stuff. And so I had picked up a contract job. It was supposed to be 3 months in HR, which is so crazy, right? Because when we talk about confidence, I wasn't the first pick for the job. And I actually had gotten told I didn't get the job. And then I guess whatever happened with the person that got picked didn't work out, because then I got the call to say, okay.
Look at God.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on the table if you want it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take this job because even though I wasn't the first pick, I'm going to show you why I should have been, type of thing. And so, okay, 3 months. I still need to be looking for a job because you're pregnant and you need a fallback if this contract doesn't get extended. And that was my first contract job. I'm like, the benefit still wasn't great, but, I had something. And so I said, how do moms do this? Like, how do you excel? Because at that time, I was like, girl, you finna climb the corporate ladder and, you have all these plans. And that's what made me second guess, okay, is this the right time for me to pursue motherhood? Even though that is also a goal of mine, to have my own family, but it was feeling like it wasn't the right time. So I boo-hoo cried about that because I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to make a decision whether or not to keep it. And with it being both of my boyfriend and I's first kid, it's just like, okay, and he's supportive, like, we got this, we going to make it work. Family supportive, friends. And so I said, you know what? I don't know much about motherhood other than having my own mom, but like how to be a mom and how do you still keep your identity as a woman and your goals in the forefront if you have to take care of this child now and they're pretty much your priority, And so I said, you know what? I want to start the Bawse Mom Movement. And I started as a podcast where I could interview moms who talk about how they balance their work and life and whatever other goals that they have and how they were still able to embrace who they were confidently and kind of like I don't want to say not experience mom guilt because we always will, but just how they maneuver through, And so I started, and I even contemplated about starting that because I hadn't birthed my son yet. So I'm like, I'm not even technically a mom, but I feel like when you get pregnant, you are because instantly you're in those mommy instincts. I got to worry about what I'm eating. I'm nurturing. You know what I'm saying? I got to nurture this baby. I got to make sure they're safe inside before they even get here. So, my people was like, start it. You know what I'm saying? Don't start that confidence, and teetering back and forth. But I feel like that was like where that spark, it was just like, girl, you can do this because you have to. You know what I'm saying? And then you still got to show up for you at the end of the day, which I struggled with that the first year of his life. But,
What was that like, though? Like, as far as trying to, like you say, show up when that first is, what were some of those struggles you had?
So I had, when I had my son, I actually had gotten another job. So now I work for one of the top investment banking firms globally.
Just do it.
But you know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, that's another transition. Okay, you back in the workforce, you doing your thing. You are no longer at the job that you had during your pregnancy. So now you got to kind of show up again because now I have new people to impress. You know what I'm saying? And I also ended up going up for a promotion 4 months into the job. I saw another level and I was just like, that paid more. And I'm like, hey, I got a family to take care of. So we about to get all the dollars we can. And why didn't y'all hire me in that role in the first place? So now I feel like I got to show up again. And so I was battling being a new mom and then going through a promotion because it was still things that I had to do. They had put me on like a 6-month plan to showcase essentially that I deserved the position, you know? And so I was in grind mode. Was no self-care. It was mommy, work, mommy. I was neglecting my relationship. I was neglecting myself, friendships. I was really depressed and didn't know it. So it wasn't until my mom had pointed it out and she was just like, you haven't gained any weight, since you had him. I had ended up going back down to my high school size. So when we talk about confidence, and that was already something I struggled with, my appearance, it's like you're an adult and you're like almost less than 100 pounds, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't realize it because I had my blinders on. I was just like, okay, I gotta be the best mom. I have to show up for him. He needs me. He's a newborn, you know, and then, but I gotta also show up here at this job and try to get this role. And so it was just like a lot of imbalance going on, which is another reason why I have the Boss Mom, is to empower moms to find that balance, you know, because you can find it. And I really hate using the word balance because nothing is ever on the same level. At some point, something takes priority over the other. But just being able to walk in that confidently, like, hey, yeah, I have a job. Yeah, I'm running a hair store. Yeah, I still take trips because that's a part of my self-care.
Facts.
And, you know, I have my relationship, like all these things, and I'm a mom and I can do it and not be burnt out and not be upset that I'm a mom either. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a work in progress, of course. I feel like that as you grow as a woman and grow as a mother, it's always going to kind of be that battle. Am I doing this right? You know, or am I a good mom? Because that's the thing. It's like society tries to tell us what the perfect mom is.
Do you feel like is it hard? Is there a good balance between when, okay, now I'm in mom mode, now I'm in which I guess you would say like myself mode? How do you juggle that part of your life? Because knowing, like you say, you're a fairly new mom, but you was in a fairly new career, so it was just when you got into that moment, what did that quote unquote balance look like? So was it still? Did you ever get into, or are you in a good place now where I can be mom now, then I can take care of myself and this and that? So was it hard to actually get into that?
Yeah, it was, because that mommy guilt always creeps up on you. Like, okay, I'm feeling guilty because I'm taking time for myself. I'm feeling guilty because I am on this trip and he's at home with his grandparents. But now I am in a good place where, because in order for me to pour into my son and have that mother responsibility, I have to pour into me as well. I can't keep pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, like even me being here today, okay, this is mommy's work, but it's fun too because I enjoy doing interviews. But okay, you're with dad, you're safe, you're good. You know, y'all spending time because that's equally important to have both time with both parents. But it's like I don't feel bad in this moment doing this because I know when I leave here, okay, I'm gonna be calling where y'all at. You know, let's do some family stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like right now in this moment, this is the priority because I need to be here doing this interview. But when I'm in mommy mode, it's like, okay, this is the priority, whatever's going on. You know what I'm saying? So it just flips, you know? And then tomorrow is me and daddy day. You know what I'm saying? Because you still have to, if you're in a relationship, you know, I'm not married yet, you know what I'm saying? But you got to, your spouse, your partner, your husband, your wife, and vice versa. You still got to nurture that relationship as well and keep that as a priority. And so when we're in just parent mode, you know what I'm saying? That's the priority in that moment. And so it really just comes down to being present in the moments that you're in.
Yeah, it sounds like you've done the work to where, of course, a lot of like learning by lessons growing up to where, okay, this is how I should be a mom. Whether, you know, your mom dudes probably helped out tips here and there, but a lot of stuff is real deal. Once you have your first child, like you say, we never had a kid, so there's no blueprint or
at all.
You can get all the resources on YouTube and this and that you want to, but that can't predict how this seed is going to act once they're here. Like it can give you a good little foundation and basis, but once you're in that mix, it's just like, it's all gloves off. It's like you say, adapt and survive. Not saying you got to survive your kid, but it's like, okay.
You do got to survive parenthood. Listen. I just did a video yesterday and I was like, hold up. Changing this diaper, this blowout that just happened, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is survival. Like, you know, that's not the best part, but, you know, it really is because you got to do what's best for you. Yeah. Like, I always tell my moms, like, whatever work in your household, you know what I'm saying, go with that.
Great advice.
Society could say whatever, you know, the judgment, especially during these times, like I said, we on social media heavy, and people gonna judge you. Oh, she on a trip and she ain't with her kids, or, you know, and it's just like, you don't know that mom's story now that I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like most of that judgment come from people that's not even parents.
Yeah.
You know?
That'd be the crazy part about it.
So you gonna say what you ain't gonna do and you don't know. Like,
don't know nothing about what's going on over here.
and I, you know, I'm probably a person that did. I'm pretty sure I have said, oh, I would never before, but now that I'm here, it's just like, one of the main things is like screen time for kids. Like my son too, and yes, he do have his own phone and iPhone. Of course, it's YouTube Kids on there and stuff, but it's just like sometimes I do need to pop that in front of him because I need a mental break.
Yeah.
And where he can entertain himself, right? Because my life is still happening, and it's stuff that he doesn't know about. And granted, he's young, he wouldn't know about it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'm a parent, I'm an adult paying bills and stuff. That's stressful. I'm working a job. I'm, whatever it is, my own personal life. And I think we have to remember it's just like, and as kids, you probably don't even realize, okay, mommy actually have a life outside of me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so just being able to acknowledge that. And so, yeah, sometimes I do need a 15 minutes even, just, hey, watch that little show and I just need to decompress for a second because I didn't have a day.
Yeah, I can understand. Even I don't have kids, but just in my house growing up, and my sister had a child, so I was the baby of the family. So it wasn't too much that I had going on to where I wasn't able to be there to help out or watch my niece. But just going through that experience of trying to help raise her, like I can share some of them same sentiments because it's just like, man, when them kids need you, they need you, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They can't take care of themselves. So it's like no matter what you got going on, no matter how you feel, no matter your emotional status, you got to show up for those kids, like no matter what. And it's just, it may suck, but I guess that's when the self-care, the therapy, the counseling, the talks with God, the walks in the parks, just the prayer help back you up in those moments to where, all right, I may not be here 100%, but I have to be here for my child. So let me use these mechanisms I may have learned to get myself in this mode to get prepared to go into parent mode and mommy mode. But about mommy mode, as a still fairly kind of new mom, and for the new moms across the world, what do you think is the number one struggle for new mothers? Not parents, like as far as with your mom, man, that just is them single out the mom by themselves and their kid.
Yeah.
What do you think the number one struggle is that women may face?
Not having enough time. And this is also feedback that I've received from other moms too, which kind of goes into not having enough time for yourself. It's 24 hours in a day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of us, especially post-COVID, our kids are at home. Like I just put my son in daycare last year when he turned 2. So them first 2 years, I was working from home and he was home too. And you just feel like, oh my gosh, it's not enough time in the day. But now how I look at it is we make time for the things that we want to do.
Facts.
And that's regardless if you a parent or not, like, or a mom or not. You at the end of the day, and I'm pretty sure you do things on your time when you want to. You know what I'm saying? You make time to do those things that are important to you. And so even when we think about not having enough time, whether it's, okay, you're saying you don't have enough time to practice that self-care, you don't have time to have that balance that you're looking for. I've had to make time. I'm not necessarily a morning person, never have been. Some people, they just get up at 5 a.m. You know what I'm saying? They just ready to go. I ain't that person, but I've had to make myself be that person. Yeah. Because I do like getting up early before anybody in the house so I can have time. Prayer, meditate, journal if I'm going to journal, whatever it is. It's me time. And I don't have to worry about hearing bae, ma, like none of that. It's just Ashlei, God, and whatever I'm doing in that coffee that I'm going to drink.
Oh, yeah.
And, and I've tried different routines that still involve me getting up in the morning still and maybe working out. I've tried that. I don't do it today. But, just trying out different things. And that's why I tell moms, like, try to rearrange your schedule, and see what happens. Because at some point, self-care has to be a non-negotiable. And that's something that I've learned. It's just like I said, you cannot pour from an empty glass. If you do that, you are just going to continue to run yourself down to the ground. And honestly, that's for anybody because I feel like my blinders have come off on that because have you ever heard like people that just give too much? They give so much of themselves, right?
I was that person.
You always saying yes to stuff, even when in the back of your mind, you really want to say no. And I feel like now as a mom, like having those boundaries is easier because some things like I absolutely just can't do, and instead of pushing myself to do it and then being so exhausted from it afterwards, it's just like, no, I just got to set those boundaries. So my time, that's a boundary for me. Like I have a calendar or an app now that filters all my calendars in it that I can actually see the time. Because sometimes we don't even know how much time we're spending in certain areas.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, even like scrolling social media. You think you on there for 15 minutes. You've been on there for an hour and a half. Like, you know what I'm saying? Doing nothing. And and really, so when you have that layout, and I know like for moms, keeping an organized schedule is we have to remain as flexible as possible because anything can happen with the child. But if you have some sort of foundation with that organization, like I swear when I downloaded that app, it's called Structured. And I recommend that to anybody.
Yeah, me want to look into it.
Yeah, it's like you look at it and you're like, dang, I really got this 2-hour gap, but I'm sitting here
so it's showing
saying,
you like all the time you really have available in that 24-hour span of that day.
It'll tell you, and it'll kind of like send reminders like, okay, maybe you should relax right here.
Oh, that's hard.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was really great for me, especially as a mom, as a partner. I'm taking care, I'm the woman of the household. So, a lot pretty much falls, woman, we gonna keep it together. You know what I'm saying? And you're really the brain of the whole entire operation when you think about it. And so I needed that. I needed something to tell me like, hey, you got a block right here. Yeah. What you gonna do with it, basically. That's how I feel like my app is talking to me. Like it tells me like, girl, you done had a whole day where you've been boom, 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 but now you have this period right here.
So
I literally put chill. I have a reminder on my calendar that says chill. Don't do anything.
Yeah.
And so I needed that. But so when we talk about time, it's like, girl, you probably really do have the time, but you're so busy, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you're a working mom, because even staying at home, you're doing chores, you're doing, you know what I'm saying, whatever you're doing. But sometimes we need that reminder. And I tell people, it's okay to schedule you time.
Yeah, you have to.
Like, it's okay because your mind is going so much. And now mine, more than ever now as a mom, like, it's always a to-do list in my head that's running, So.
That's crazy, man. It's time is one of those things. So when it's like, for real, to me and people, if they know me, they'll know, it's like God, family, and my time. Like those things are like my top priority in my life. One, of course, without my faith of God, I would be nowhere. Yeah. One, without family is like, who can you follow on? I know some people say, well, sometimes you can't even follow on family, but I mean, you do have those members in your family, but just in totality, you following your family. And then with my time, it's just, bro, I cannot get that back.
Right.
No matter what happens, I cannot replace my time. So what it behoove me and anybody I know is just let's be on top of time. When it comes to time management, like I've gotten so good at it. I know how long it's gonna take me for one, whether it's starting to get ready, to make the drive, to arrive, to be able to sit down for a phone call. Like, that's how much I love to prioritize my time. Because it's just, why would you just waste a natural resource that you've been blessed with to help you out to get to whatever happiness or success you want in life? Yeah. And like you saying, I think Charlamagne said it to where he even does it. Like, you have the app, but I guess it's on a pen and paper. Like, you just write down the 24 hours and knowing whether it's for that week or for that day. This is really what I'm doing. Because once you're able, like you say, once you're able to see it, you have a clear vision of, yeah, right there, that's when, all right, y'all, just leave me alone. But if you don't see it, you're going to say in your head at 2 o'clock, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. But 1:45, something pop up. All right, let me do this real quick. Quick turns to 2:30, and now I got 10 minutes left, so I got to sacrifice eating, or I got to sacrifice resting, or sacrifice going to the gym. So just managing that time, whether it's with motherhood, fatherhood, parenthood, business, or whatnot, I think time is one of those things where we as a society, as people, got to really put more emphasis on time, even when it's like just getting places. It's just, time is just that big to me. But
time is of the essence, for real. And my boyfriend reminds me of that too, because like even when I was speaking earlier about being present in the moment, it was like those first couple of years of my son's life, like I said, I was like in grind mode. So I wasn't like being intentional with my time. Like, yeah, we might be doing family time, but I'm still over here checking emails.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? And so like, and in reality, it's just like, girl, that can wait.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's so, like, for me, it's hard to get to that point sometimes to where, like saying it can wait. Because something, when they seem so quick, it's like, I know if I do this now, I don't got to worry about it tomorrow and this and that. But I had to learn this, like, no matter what, just let it go.
Yeah.
Just because if you don't, just think about it. The more time you spend doing stuff like that, like you say, your spouse, somebody is lacking your energy and affection towards them.
Exactly.
And in the long run, you may be doing it like micro things, but those micros add up to a whole macro situation years down the line. So you may look back like, well, dang, why is my marriage like this? Or why is my relationship with my kids like this? Remember all that time you spent doing X, Y, and Z?
Right.
And instead of being present in the moment with your kids or your husband, your wife, like, so that's one of those things we got to double down on the society. But what I want to ask you, right, with the Bawse Mom movement, so like to dig inside of that, right? So what does that look like on a, not saying daily, but just on a, whether it is an event or just that movement period, what does it look like for a woman once they enter in the Bawse Mom movement?
Mainly community and a safe space. I feel like it's so many feelings that we go through as moms that we don't necessarily like to share, because even though it's other moms, it's something in you that says, I don't know if they went through this or, if they feel like this, and you don't want to be offensive, or you don't know if it resonates or anybody's relatable, and so you keep it inside. And so one of the things that I really, and the core value of is community. We want to be a safe space for moms to say whatever they need to say. Sometimes you just need to let your hair down. And so that's like my priority with it, is just having a space for moms to feel safe.
And even this is bouncing back to then and now, dealing with those confidence issues, like building a community, that's like polar opposites.
It literally is. It is.
How did you just muster up the courage to do it? Or just what was the process of saying, you know what, now I'm the face, or just head, not even just saying the face, but this is me, this Bawse Mom movement, and now all these women are going to be they're looking at me as if just quote unquote like as a kid would a parent, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm looking at you to provide us with this community, this value, these words of encouragement, or these seminars were not to help us progress as a mom. So when you're putting things together, how did you, just get that confidence to say, I'm starting this tribe and now it's here? And how do you plan those things and put them together, and how do they turn out for you?
So even though I struggle with confidence, struggled, let me put it past
There
tense.
we go. Yeah.
I always still kind of feel like I was a natural born leader.
Yeah.
And I say that because never had an issue making friends, or keeping friends, really. Not to say that I don't have any relationships that are, maybe dwindled, but just like as a person, I feel like I'm a natural born leader. And my master's is actually in leadership. It's in transformative leadership. And I feel like a leader is someone that you want to follow.
Yeah.
Some people call themselves a leader, but no one wants to follow them. That's not a leader.
Nope.
And I'm really at heart, I'm a warm person. Like, yeah, I could be mean sometimes, but at the core though, I'm a good person, and I'm always pouring into other people, encouraging. And so when I look at me as quote unquote the leader of the pack for the Bawse Mom movement, it's because I want to encourage you. I want to push you. It's not about me. It's about us. As you know what I'm saying? Like, as a whole, we're boss moms because we're embracing the power from within. And that's what I look at it. And granted, like, the vision has changed a little bit since I started, but the overall aspect to it was being able to empower other moms to grab hold of that confidence. Because one thing I have noticed is that sometimes we lose confidence. Even if you came into motherhood being confident, sometimes you lose it because you feel like you've lost yourself, And so it's funny because you bring up, like, how can you be leading when you was not even confident, right? But I found that confidence in motherhood and just looking at some amazing moms, like two of my personal favorite moms to look at and be inspired by are Pinky Cole and Milano.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, I was pregnant at the same time of Pinky Cole, and she opened up. I remember seeing an article about her opening up her New York's restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, you did all that, and you about to drop this baby, which I think at the time, like, no one even knew that she was pregnant for real. And then it was just like, boom, like, I'm 7 months pregnant type of thing. And that was just so inspiring to me as a mom. And I'm just like that's something like, she had the vision for Slutty Vegan prior to motherhood, was already doing it, but it's like it didn't stop her.
Yeah,
like motherhood didn't
facts.
stop her. If anything, to me personally, I feel like she was on the pedal, on
Turned
the
her up
gas.
10
You know what I'm
times
saying?
more,
Like she done
yeah.
did so much. And same thing with Milano, and all of our kids are still small, around the same ages, honestly. And so when I look at the boss mom and being the leader, it's just like me instilling that confidence in or helping, moms instill that confidence in themselves. Like, girl, take back your power, take back your identity. Like, you could be a boss in whatever it is that you want to do. And maybe it's not starting a business or climbing the corporate ladder, whatever it is your goal is in life. I've met moms that are like, they want to write books. They sitting on book ideas, or they're sitting on an idea to launch their business or brand or something. And they're just scared to do it because they feel like they're not going to be able to execute as well as they would maybe if they weren't a mom. And it's just like, at some time you might have to sacrifice that sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I wrote a book, it's called The Boss Mom Revolution, and I had to sacrifice some late nights just to make sure it got done. But that was just a season of my life. I'm not going to have to grind like this forever,
Facts.
And so like, that's what when I look at myself, I said, girl, you a leader anyway. Step into this. There's no need to be scared. It's going to go how it's going to go. But I just know that bringing strong women together so we can bounce off of each other, bounce that energy off of each other is the goal, And so when I look at the overall vision, like I said, it's bigger than me, And once I got into it and I started hearing more stories from more moms, the podcast really helped, honestly, because I got to meet so many amazing women and moms in the process. And it's just like, we can do this.
Yeah.
We have examples that we can see, whether it's your mom, because I feel like my mama is a boss mom. Anytime I have an event, like mostly my summit, I always say she the original boss mom in my world, because she made it happen. And even though I've now looking at it as an adult and as a mom myself now, I used to always ask my mom, why you don't have no friends? Why you don't go out and do nothing for yourself?
Yeah.
I used to ask her that, and she always used to be like she was tired.
Yeah, now you seeing like,
now I'm seeing, but that's why it's so important when we talk about like that balance in our life and being able to have that self-care. It's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, that's a fact. You said like, we can do this, we can do that, we can do that. So that word we, right? And that's what community is. Community, tribe, this group, that group. It's a we thing. So how was it difficult to build that community? Or when you did it, like what are some tips or pointers you got to be able to, because a lot of people want to do whether it is a seminar or just an event to where, hey, I want to build this community and bring people together. So for you, was it difficult, or what advice do you have on building a strong community, no matter how big or small, but what tips can you give on that?
Just stay consistent. Stay consistent. It's going to be hard. I'm still in the phase of building. I haven't reached my peak at all, because the way I want to touch moms across the world, like I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
But I would say, just continue the hustle in that, if that's what your vision is. And I'm gonna be honest, I'll say it here on the podcast, like, I want to have the largest Black mom community.
Let's do it right.
You know
here
what
on
I'm
the pod,
saying? Like, that's what I want.
Don't have it.
And I'm gonna work hard to get there, but just know, like, hard work and consistency. Stay focused. I know a lot of times we'll give up on things if it's not happening fast enough.
Facts.
And when you look at people who are large in their industries, like a Oprah or a Steve Harvey, they'll tell you how long it took them to even reach that magnitude of what they're doing. And so it's not going to, success doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And so you just got to, if you really want it bad enough, you'll continue to work through those moments that you just feel like throwing in the towel. Because I have those moments often, because it is hard. But once you see the impact, and I think for me, the reminders are when I do have an event, whether it's in person or virtual, or I get some feedback from a mom. Like I just had my third summit last month.
Congratulations.
And
Congratulations.
Thank you. And just the feedback from the moms, and how when I hear moms say, I needed this, that's like fire for me.
That's probably got to be the most rewarding thing you can have outside of knowing sales, this and that, like hearing that. Yeah.
Yep. And so, and for me, also purpose helps drive me, because I feel like my purpose is to be impactful. to others. And I've done that in different capacities from my job, like making my job meaningful. I thoroughly, and I probably stand on it more now today, now that I am a mom, is I'm not working a job that doesn't serve me.
Yeah.
You
facts.
know, like, yeah, you work a job to pay the bills and survive life and all that, but I need to know that when I wake up and go to this job, like I'm serving, like that's purpose for me. I don't want to be sitting here punching the clock for something that doesn't mean anything to me, you know, because I feel like that's going to make me want to quit. So for like with the Bawse Mom Movement, there's purpose in that because I feel like I'm being impactful in other moms' life. And that's another piece to the puzzle is like purpose and passion. I have a passion to help other people. I've always been like that. And so that's why I say like those reminders come from my moms when they are happy that they came to a Bawse Mom event, that they leave feeling filled, you know? And so, yeah, that purpose and passion together is dangerous.
Man, that's a fuel to anybody's flame. Knowing I'm walking in purpose and I got a passion behind me, you can get anything done with that. But inside these events, like what can they look for? What happens? I appreciate you can share it.
Transparency, and again, that support system. Like we usually share things. Like I've had moms share things that are very personal to them, whether they're going through it in that moment or they went through it. We cry together, we laugh together. And that's like that's the type of atmosphere I want to have. And so I just created, even though I have like the community in terms of like social media and like events, I just created a community on this app that we're using now to bring moms in, so you can have it at your fingertips. If you just need to come in and say, hey y'all, I need some advice, or I had a bad day, I cried, whatever it is, like that's what I want that digital space to be as well, so that when we leave these events, we're still connected, and not on social media because I posted something, but really truly building a community. You don't have to be in Atlanta to join it. Like when I say I want to touch moms across, like I met a mom a couple weeks ago at an event who follows me, and she came and spoke. She's from Houston.
Sheesh.
You know, like even at the summit, I had moms flying in from other cities, and I didn't know it until I actually got at the event. You know, I knew about two, because one was a vendor, and one mom, she came to like a virtual event, and she told me she was coming from LA. But it's just like, wow, you really are, you know, impacting people outside of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yeah, and it's still crazy to me. But anybody that's looking to build on anything, community, business, brand, like stick with it if it really means something to you. You know?
And to top all this off, right, and it's like one of the top 10 main important things. So for yourself as a Black woman in this society and a mother, how do you purposefully and specifically deal with your mental health? Like as far as when it gets riled up, easing it, or just keeping it at bay, at peace. So what does mental health, specifically self-care, look like for you?
Yeah, therapy for sure. Probably need to go and set an appointment now. But therapy for sure. God, like I said in the beginning, and leaning on my support system. So they get all the cries and the complaints and all that, you know. I mean, God do too, but you know, like just having those conversations with them, like you that helps with my mental health, because you got to get it out. You got to get it out. Keeping it in doesn't help. Like I said, I love to travel. I was a travel agent for a couple of years. I don't do it anymore, but getting back on that plane is just something about stepping foot on a plane that excites me, and that just makes everything, you know, like sometimes you do just need that break, even if the problem is still gonna be there when you get back. Like you need that time to, I'm very big on taking time to just kind of like recoup, you know, rejuvenate yourself. So honestly, that, and one of my, I like to call it a free self-care thing, but it's not really free because I do pay a water bill. But taking long, uninterrupted showers after a long day.
Telling you.
You know, like it's just something where you could just in there talking to yourself, you could just think without anything. That's self-care for me.
Nah, it is. That's when you're in the shower, for me driving, and may sound crazy, but when you're using the restroom, those 3 times are some of the best times to get up in here, because especially the shower, because one, you got no clothes on, you wet, you can't just get up and move and just break that whatever you got going on. It's gonna take so much to just, all right, let me stop this shower and go do whatever. Once you in there, and then with the heat of the water, the steam, just that relaxation, those are just the best time to just really dig in. Like it's been moments I've been in the shower where I've been doing those things to where I'm like, man, I gotta turn the hot water up so I can write either I thought of something on the glass in the fall so I can remember it when I get out, because those moments were just so productive. But I love to hear that somebody and people are actually caring about what's going on inside of this school. Because like you run around in here, hit your knee, break your toe. Where you going? To the doctor. You hurt your arm, your leg, your stomach feel bad. You going to the doctor. But it's just certain times when we feel like things are chemically imbalanced up here or just not going right. It's like, well, that may just be how I'm feeling today, or nah, there's nothing. But you got to go to get some therapy, to go get some counseling. So I'm glad you're an advocate for that, and you're one person who does it, because we need that way more in this lifetime. There's very few people who really feel the need or see the resource they can get from a counselor. But just imagine going your whole life asking yourself the same question over and over when all you needed was somebody who's unbiased and who has some experience in what's going on to ask you a certain set of questions that you never asked yourself before to make you say, damn, that's it right there.
Exactly. You got to break down those layers.
Yeah.
And I'm an advocate because a lot of people don't even know, like I studied psychology. My bachelor's is actually in psychology, and I was enrolled in a counseling for my master's. I dropped out like 2 weeks before because I didn't want to do it anymore. But I feel like I'm counseling in other ways. And then I also, a couple years ago, went and got my life coach certification. So therapy, coaching, like just someone to talk to and help guide you through some of those moments, like is definitely needed. And even though I didn't pursue my master's and become a licensed therapist, I still 100% believe in it. Like, and then just knowing the background and knowing just the psychology of people, we need it.
I'm telling you, they say, not they, and it's not they, I think God said in the Bible, one of the best ways to heal from anything as far like trauma or whatever is to talk about it. When you talk about it to a person, it just, like, you feel that way. It's like, man, I'm not dealing with this by myself. And whether they, can relate or not.
Right.
And if they're a good listener in that moment, if they don't relate, that's all you need sometimes. Like, man, you know what? I just need to get this out of my system. It's out here in the universe. I don't feel like I'm fighting it. Fighting these, whatever you call it, demons by yourself or whatnot. It's like somebody is here to know, well, I do have a down moment. Let me call them right back real quick. Because now somebody's in my corner to help uplift me. And again, that's that community aspect. So mental health is an important thing, man. It got to be spread 10 times more. Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes people don't embrace the thought of therapy because they also don't want to shed light on themselves in the areas that they need to tweak.
Those deep,
and
darkest
grow.
secrets.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it's you. Sometimes you the problem and you don't want to hear it.
That's a
You know
fact.
what I'm saying? So it's like dealing with whatever external traumas you may have, but also dealing with yourself as a person. And I'm now at 32, like transformation, like my word for this year has actually been transformation.
Yeah,
like
that's beautiful.
Really just transforming into the person that I'm supposed to be. But that also takes self-reflection, and sometimes, like I said, you got to look in the mirror.
Yeah. And it was crazy. I got older when I realized this, the Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror. When I heard it, now I'm like, he was on to something.
Yeah.
Just imagine, though, if we all were to really to start with a person you see in the mirror, it'd be no finger pointing. It'd be no bad judgment. Because if you just really working on yourself and fixing yourself, and if everybody does it, we're, of course, not probably 100% fixed, but we're fixed human beings operating out here in this society because we started with ourselves versus saying, well, such and such do this and that. They did this and that to me. But the more you say that, the more they say it. Just look at yourself and fix yourself. But that's a whole other story for another day, man.
Right.
But excuse me. So before we get up out of here, right? There's a I'm just gonna stick to the women today. A young mother, a young pregnant mother, a young expectant mother who may think she want to get into motherhood. Somebody who don't know what's coming down the line. They may be pregnant now who don't know it, but they just finding out. So, and then also somebody who may want to start their own community or their own tribe.
Yeah.
What advice could you give your audience as far as like how you did it, what they can do to do it, how to overcome some obstacles, or just anything, any pointers you can give to get them to say, hey, now I'm motivated to do it. I've seen Ashlei do it, whether they do what you do or not, or just say that got them off the couch to go do something, what can you say to them? How could you motivate them? And it's your time to get to your people.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna break it up.
Yeah.
So for the mamas, I want to say, young, old, pregnant, whatever stage you're in, believe in yourself. It may take a lot, but know that you are and will be an amazing mom. You have to do what's best for you, and don't forget about yourself in the process. So figure out how you can, quote unquote, balance keeping hold to who you are and still being the best mom that you can be. As long as you are showing up for that child, nurturing that child, and keeping them out of harm's way, like every day you're doing a great job. You're going to have moments where you feel down. Sometimes you can explain it. Sometimes you can't. Acknowledge those feelings because you are still a human being. You're not a robot. And you're not, even though we are super moms, you're not a superhuman. Okay. And there's just no perfect mom. There's no perfect person. So that would be my advice for any expecting mothers or moms now that are feeling like, you're not doing the best that you can. And then as far as any woman that wants to start a tribe, start a community, going back to that passion and purpose, if you feel like that's what you're supposed to be doing, do it. It don't matter if you have one supporter to 1,000 supporters. Just know that if that's what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to be amazing at it, and somebody is going to be impacted by the work that you're doing. So just keep going.
Facts, man. If y'all just heard that, young ladies around the world, older ladies, mid ladies, whatever it may be, take heed to that. And one thing I want to add to, as well, to what you said earlier as far as counseling, like, if y'all do go to counseling, just make sure you tell the truth. That's one of the biggest things that ruin your whole counseling experience. Like, going in there trying to hide this and hide that, it's pointless to go in there and do that. You're never going to heal properly, and you're not giving the therapist or counselor the proper chance to help you out. So if you are going to counseling, make sure you go inside of there. Whether it's your deepest, darkest secret, you gotta let that stuff out and be 100% honest about it. Especially if you know for a fact you're in that environment with your counselor who is authentic with it. Go in there and be 100% open. Because if you're not doing that, you wasting your time, you wasting your money, because counseling ain't free and ain't cheap. So don't go in there playing around, man. But again, excuse me, I just want to say thank you for pulling up.
Of course.
It was a blessing. What you're doing out here is great. Like, again, building community, especially for women, right? Sometimes, not sometimes, like, women is one of the least cared about beings out here, especially black women in this world. So the fact that you do have the purpose to do that for other women around in the light, here goes the flowers to you. Thank you. Kudos for that. So I want you to keep doing it, keep inspiring, keep motivating. All the events you're putting together, keep doing that, because you're bringing people together in community, and I'm pretty sure they're loving it. So but before you get up out of here, do you have any announcements you want to say or anything coming up?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say follow me on Instagram, first of all, at the Bawse Mom Movement, and Bawse is spelled BAWSE, no underscores or anything like that. But follow the movement, subscribe, because May has a lot of events coming up. I'm not gonna release them yet, but May is gonna be jam packed, so I'm excited about that. The Bawse Mom community is open to join the digital community. So if you follow me on Instagram, then that link is in the bio as well. And then I also have a paid subscription mentorship community. Personal and professional development are some of our pillars of strength. So I really thoroughly believe in growing. Y'all know I said my word for the year is transformation. So you can never stop growing and evolving. So if you want to join that, it's $19 a month to join us in there. So yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do it. But again, a great combo. If y'all have been tuning in thus far, thank y'all for coming back again week after week. Make sure y'all go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell, @Inherited Podcast on YouTube. Follow us on IG @Inherited Podcast. That is NHERITD Podcast. Follow me on IG, Sir Gates BC. Again, this is Inherited Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see y'all.
See ya.
Another good conversation.